I remember the day my neighbor Ruth turned 82. She'd always been so energetic, tending her rose garden, shuffling around the neighborhood with her small terrier tugging at its leash, and carrying groceries up her front steps without a hint of strain. But a single misstep on a slightly uneven sidewalk changed everything. One moment, she was smiling in the sunshine. The next, she was on the ground, shaken, bruised, and suddenly fearful of her own front yard. That day, I realized how quickly life can shift when balance becomes an issue. It isn't just a bump or a bruise at stake. It's your independence, your sense of autonomy, your confidence in every step you take. Many seniors believe falling is just a normal part of aging, something you can't avoid. But that's a misconception that keeps too many people from living with the peace of mind they deserve. The truth is, there are simple, quick balance exercises that can dramatically reduce the risk of falls, even for those in their 80s. And if you stay with me, you'll discover 7 of the most impactful ones. Each one is designed to help you strengthen your stability so that you can keep doing the things you love: gardening, strolling with friends, and moving freely in your own home without constantly worrying about a sudden tumble. Stick around for all 7, because the final exercise has a little-known trick that often surprises physical therapists with how quickly it helps seniors regain firm footing. After decades of seeing this work for older adults, I can promise you that age doesn't have to dictate how steady you feel on your feet. Experts and geriatric specialists have emphasized time and again how critical it is to maintain good balance as we move into our later years. It's not just about avoiding accidents. It's about preserving the freedom to walk unassisted, carry your own groceries, and enjoy social outings without hesitation. Before we dive in, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't already, because we dive into practical tips every week to help people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond continue thriving. And as you follow along, if something resonates, I invite you to type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0. So I know what content truly helps you live your best life. Let's begin with the first balance exercise that challenges the usual, outdated assumption that you need expensive equipment or a gym membership to work on your stability. Many folks assume that to improve balance, you must join a specific class or invest in complicated gear. But you'll see that the simplest movements often bring the biggest results. The first exercise is something I like to call the gentle single leg stance. It starts with a bold proposition: balancing on one leg for 10 seconds at a time, even if you haven't attempted such a thing in years. The common misconception is that if you feel wobbly standing on one leg, you must not be strong enough. In reality, many seniors underestimate their stability and don't realize that with the right approach, like practicing near a wall or countertop for support, they can see improvements within days. Take Helen, for instance. She's 85 and has always been cautious about moving around her home. After a minor fall in her kitchen, she was terrified of losing her independence for good. A few weeks later, she decided she wouldn't let fear dictate her life. She started doing these single-leg stances with a chair next to her, just in case. It surprised her how quickly she felt more steady. Once wobbly, she now can manage 15 seconds without holding on, and her sense of independence has skyrocketed. She even told me she's more confident simply walking from room to room, something we all tend to take for granted until that confidence wavers. The unexpected reality is that our ability to balance on one leg isn't purely about leg strength. It's also about the brain's connection to your muscles. By challenging yourself a little each day, eyes focused on one point ahead, abdominal muscles slightly engaged, and foot planted firmly on the ground, you trigger an astonishing response in your body that reactivates dormant stabilizer muscles. If you think about it, your core is like the central command station. When you train your brain to coordinate with your limbs, the entire system becomes more effective. Try standing behind a sturdy chair, or place your hand lightly on a wall, lift one foot just an inch off the ground, and count to 10. Then switch legs. Notice how your ankles, calves, and core work together to keep you upright. You might feel small tremors. That's normal and even beneficial because it indicates your muscles are working. By integrating this tiny habit into your daily routine, you'll strengthen the foundation that allows you to move with confidence. And the emotional benefit is huge. Once you realize you can catch yourself if you trip or slip, you worry far less about every step you take. Now let's address something people often get wrong. It's not about just planting your leg and hoping for the best. It's about practicing alignment, engaging your core, and breathing steadily. Picture yourself standing tall like a tree with deep roots. That's the essence of this exercise: calm, grounded stability that anchors you, whether you're in your kitchen, living room, or out in the yard. The second exercise flips another common belief on its head. Many seniors think that slow, careful movements are safest, but that approach can sometimes work against you. It's called the heel-to-toe walk. Most people shuffle step by step, unconsciously relying on momentum rather than muscle coordination. The misconception here is that by moving faster, you're preventing yourself from wobbling. In truth, mindful, slow pacing is exactly what trains your body and brain to work together in a controlled manner. Consider George, who's 79. He used to take brisk, short steps to avoid feeling unbalanced. It was almost as if he feared what would happen if he paused for too long. But I suggested he give the heel-to-toe walk a try, barefoot or in flat shoes, with a hand lightly resting on the back of a sofa. At first, his ankles and calves trembled. He felt a mild panic that he might tip over. Yet after a week, he told me he was pleasantly shocked. Not only was his balance improving, but he felt calmer and more in control with each step. It's as if his body started to trust itself again. The surprise is that by placing one foot directly in front of the other, with the heel of your front foot touching the toes of the back foot, you're forcing your stabilizing muscles to engage deeply. You're also training your mind to coordinate precise movements. Taking 6 or 7 steps this way, turning around and coming back, provides an incredible workout for your entire musculoskeletal system. If you imagine your living space as a small runway, you'll find that even in the confines of your bedroom or hallway, you have all the space you need to practice. This exercise amplifies your awareness of your posture and foot placement, which is crucial to preventing falls. Try it slowly at first. If you need additional support, hold on to a countertop or the back of a sturdy chair. Focus on each foot as it moves forward, breathing in and out with each step. You'll likely notice your hips, knees, and ankles adjusting. By the time you've done it a few times, you'll be pleasantly surprised at how much more in sync you feel. That sense of alignment can make everyday activities like picking up mail or walking to the car far less daunting. If you're still watching, I'd love to know what you think so far. Type 2 in the comments if these first 2 points resonate with you, or if you have any questions about giving them a try. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so and turning on the notification bell. It's a small step that helps you stay connected to tips and guidance designed with your independence in mind. Let's keep going. For the third exercise, we address a fear that many seniors develop: bending down or reaching overhead. A lot of people think if they bend, they'll lose their balance and topple right over. But ironically, avoiding bending or reaching can weaken the very muscles needed to stabilize you. This next move is something I call the countertop squat, which might sound like a bold statement. Yes, I'm suggesting seniors in their 80s can do a gentle squat. Many believe squats are strictly for younger folks at the gym, but that's simply not true. Let me share Mary's experience. She was 84 and had given up on bending altogether. Every time her grandchildren visited, she'd ask them to pick up anything that fell to the floor or was placed on a low shelf. Over time, she realized she was scared to do something as simple as retrieve a pot from a bottom cabinet. When she finally tried the countertop squat, she started with the tiniest bend, her hands gripping the countertop, her feet hip-width apart. It was barely noticeable at first, but each day she went a hair deeper. Within a month, Mary was no longer calling her grandchildren for every little thing on a lower shelf. She felt an exhilarating sense of self-reliance. That's the hidden truth about squats. They're not about bulging muscles. They're about reawakening the chain of muscles from your hips to your ankles. Standing with a secure surface like a counter or table in front of you, keep your weight in your heels, bend slightly at the knees as though you're about to sit back into a chair, and then straighten again. Focus on staying tall in your upper body, drawing in your belly just a bit, and inhaling as you bend, exhaling as you rise. Even if you only dip a few inches, You're training your body to handle everyday tasks like picking up a piece of paper or adjusting something on a lower shelf. The best part? By regularly practicing these partial squats, you gain trust in your lower body. The emotional benefit is huge. You no longer second-guess yourself every time you need to lower your body. That confidence has a ripple effect, making all your movements smoother and more controlled. Visualize the difference. Before, you might have hesitated or reached for a cane, anxious about losing your balance. After consistent practice, you could be bending and straightening without a second thought, feeling like a strong, capable version of yourself. Moving along, the fourth exercise challenges the belief that you need an elaborate environment for real results. This one is called side leg raises, and it goes against the notion that basic standing exercises only work your primary leg muscles. The misconception here is that you have to do fancy footwork or specialized routines to strengthen all the stabilizers around your hips. Actually, this simple, repetitive motion can be a game changer. I think of Sam, who was 81 and had a particularly hard time stepping to the side. He'd shuffle his feet whenever he needed to move laterally, like when getting around furniture or stepping into the shower. One day, his daughter noticed his awkward sidestep and worried it could lead to a fall. So, Sam took up these side leg raises, standing tall, holding on to the back of a chair, and lifting one leg out to the side, then bringing it back in. At first, the movement was just a couple of inches, and he was focusing more on not tipping over. But as weeks went by, Sam found he could raise his leg higher and place it back down with more control. The surprising insight is that lateral movement is often neglected in daily life. We walk forward, sometimes backward, but rarely do we emphasize side-to-side motion. Yet real life demands it. Think of stepping around obstacles in the house or maneuvering in crowded places. Strengthening those lateral hip muscles is key to steady mobility. Try doing 8 to 10 lifts on each side, using slow, controlled motions. Even as you lift your leg, think about your standing foot pressing firmly into the floor, like a tree trunk rooted in the ground. It's not just your lifting leg that's working, your support leg is building stability as well. Beyond the physical benefit, there's a powerful emotional boost. When you realize you can move in all directions without wavering, you feel a sense of readiness for life's little surprises. Perhaps you're in the grocery store and need to sidestep quickly to let someone pass, or you're rearranging furniture at home. Instead of feeling trapped or anxious, you have the agility to manage your surroundings with ease. That renewed sense of self-sufficiency can brighten your mood and fuel your motivation to keep moving forward. If you've made it this far, I appreciate your dedication. Please comment 4 to let me know you're still here and finding these exercises helpful. If you haven't subscribed or turned on notifications yet, now's a great time. By staying connected, you give yourself a steady stream of encouragement and ideas to maintain your strength, balance, and most importantly, your freedom. Now let's venture into the fifth exercise, which addresses a misunderstanding about handholds and supports. People often say, just hold on to something if you're unsteady. And while that's sensible, too much reliance on holding can keep your core and hip muscles from truly engaging. This exercise is the wall push-off, and it's a bit contrarian because it urges you to actually push away from a support instead of clinging to it. Picture Carol, 80 years old, who had grown dependent on furniture walking, always leaning on counters, chairs, or walls. She had the strength to walk unaided but didn't trust herself. Her posture suffered, and her core muscles were asleep on the job. When she discovered the wall push-off, she described it as a wake-up call for her torso and arms. She'd stand facing a wall, place her palms against it, and then lightly push her body back into a standing position without letting go completely. It's like a gentle version of a standing push-up, but with a twist. You focus on feeling your center of gravity shift from your arms to your legs, noticing how your core muscles activate. The hidden reality is that your arms can help your legs when you're regaining balance, but you need to train them in tandem with your core. By pushing off from a wall or another stable surface, you practice transferring your weight to your legs and ankles so they're ready to steady you at a moment's notice. In doing so, you also improve posture. No more hunching forward or leaning precariously. To try it, stand a foot or two away from a wall, Place your hands flat at shoulder height and lean in slightly so some of your weight is on your hands. Then push back until you're standing nearly upright. Repeat this for 8 to 10 reps, focusing on tightening your abdomen and feeling that solid connection throughout your body. It might seem subtle, but consistent practice can yield a new sense of trust in your capacity to balance. The emotional benefit? You realize that you are an active participant in your own stability. You aren't merely holding on for dear life. You're engaging your muscles in a purposeful way that reinforces the notion, I've got this. Moving to the sixth exercise, we tackle a misconception about footwork and footwear. Many people think that any supportive shoe will solve their stability issues, but shoes alone can't correct the underlying problem of weak feet and ankles. That brings us to the foot roll and rock exercise. It might sound simple, rolling your feet from the outer edge to the inner edge or rocking from heel to toe, but it's one of the most overlooked yet vital routines for strengthening those small stabilizer muscles. This reminds me of Antonio, who's 83. He wore high-support orthopedic shoes recommended by his doctor, yet he still felt unsteady. He came to realize that while supportive footwear helps, it doesn't actively train foot muscles. Once he started the foot roll and rock, he noticed improved control when transitioning from standing to walking. The biggest surprise for him was how quickly he felt a difference. Within 2 weeks, his ankles didn't buckle as easily, and he was more confident walking in socks around his house, something he previously avoided for fear of slipping. To do this, stand holding on to a stable piece of furniture. Slowly shift your weight to the outer edges of both feet, then roll to the inner edges and repeat. Then gently rock from your heels to your toes, focusing on pressing down into the floor at each stage. You can close your eyes if you feel safe, further challenging your sense of balance and forcing your brain to rely on feedback from your feet. These subtle movements activate the small muscles in your feet and ankles that often get neglected. The emotional payoff is huge. Every step you take becomes more intentional and secure, reducing the dread that can come with traversing stairs or uneven ground. If you're still following along, comment 6, so I know you're committed to taking these practical steps towards safer, more confident movement. And remember, if you haven't done so already, subscribing allows you to continue receiving tips that build on these exercises, ensuring your path to independence is well supported. Lastly, let's talk about one exercise that tends to surprise physical therapists with how effective it is: the seated to standing slow rise. The bold claim here is that a simple act, getting up from a chair with extreme mindfulness, can be a major key to fall prevention. The common misconception is that sitting down or standing up is so basic, it requires no special training. In fact, for many seniors, the transition from seated to standing is a high-risk moment for dizziness, wobbling, or misplacement of the feet. Here's how it unexpectedly changed Lucy's life. She's 86, and for years she'd been using her arms heavily to push herself out of chairs. She didn't realize her legs and core were missing out on an essential workout. When she started practicing the slow rise, she made sure to plant her feet hip-width apart, align her knees above her ankles, and lean forward slightly from the hips, engaging her abdominal muscles. Then in one controlled motion, she rose to a full stand without rushing. The first time she tried, she was shaky and felt muscles working that she hadn't noticed in a long time. But within a month, Lucy found herself popping out of chairs more easily, and that dreaded sense of teetering forward vanished. The surprising truth is that a slow, intentional stand activates not only your legs, but also your hips, back, and core. Think of it like a synchronized dance between your upper and lower body. Doing 5 slow rises in a row gives you a burst of strength training that translates directly into everyday life. Each time you stand up for a glass of water or to answer the door, you reduce your chance of losing balance because your body has practiced stabilizing through that crucial transition. Try it with a sturdy chair that doesn't move. Place your hands on your thighs if you need a little extra support, and breathe out as you stand. Pause for a couple of seconds before walking away to make sure your equilibrium has settled. Consistent practice builds muscle memory. Your body will learn to stand fluidly without the sudden jolt that often triggers instability. As we near the end of these 7 exercises, it's time to bring everything together. These routines might seem simple, but they're a collective powerhouse for developing the kind of balance that protects you from sudden falls. Imagine yourself a month or two from now, feeling more stable getting in and out of bed, stepping into the shower without that anxious flutter in your stomach. Maybe even taking a leisurely stroll down the block with the confidence of someone who knows they can handle life's little ups and downs. That's the transformation we're aiming for. Take a moment to reflect on these 7 points: the gentle single-leg stance, the heel-to-toe walk, the countertop squat, the side leg raises, the wall push-off, the foot roll and rock, and the seated to standing slow rise. Each one targets a specific aspect of your balance, from foot stability to core engagement, from lateral agility to mindful transitions. When you practice them consistently, they reinforce one another. Think of them as building blocks of independence, stacking up to create a reliable support system for your body. So why wait? There's so much at stake. When you overlook your balance, you risk more than a bruise or a fractured bone. You risk losing confidence in your own home, feeling dependent on others, or missing out on activities that bring you joy. But there's a powerful urgency here. The sooner you start, the sooner you'll see results. Incorporate even 1 or 2 of these exercises into your daily or weekly routine, and you'll notice subtle shifts in how you carry yourself. Shifts that add up over time. I invite you to picture yourself a few weeks from now, waking up with the intention of moving freely and confidently. You might start the day with a gentle single-leg stance in the kitchen while waiting for the coffee to brew, or maybe you'll practice a couple of seated to standing slow rises before heading out. By lunchtime, you'll feel accomplished, having taken tangible steps towards safeguarding your independence. By evening, you can relax in your favorite chair, proud of your progress, knowing you're investing in a future where you remain active, capable, and self-reliant. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 7 exercises spoke to you the most? Maybe you're excited to try the heel-to-toe walk, or perhaps the countertop squat feels like it could unlock greater freedom for you. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Even if you just pick one exercise to focus on, let me know how you plan to use it in your daily life. Your insights and experiences don't just help you, they also inspire others who might be nervous about taking that first step. If you found this video insightful or helpful, please click that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit. Every new subscriber motivates us to continue bringing you trusted advice tailored for your stage of life. Your engagement, comments, likes, shares, helps this community thrive, and together we can create a space where seniors feel empowered to maintain their autonomy. Never forget, you have far more strength and adaptability than you might believe. Your body has carried you through so many chapters of life, and it can continue to serve you well with just a bit of mindful attention and practice. Keep pushing yourself in small ways. Keep celebrating the little victories, and before long, you'll look back and see just how far you've come. Thank you for watching and for taking a proactive approach to preserving your independence. I'm excited to hear about your progress, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Keep moving, keep believing in your capabilities, and remember, you are in charge of your own journey, one balanced step at a time.